With that, we'll recognize the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Meuser, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chairman McHenry. Thank you, Chairman Powell, for being with us. Chairman, is the Fed's commitment regarding ESG not to force investment banks to renege on their fiduciary responsibilities?
We don't actually have policies in effect in that space. That's not an assignment that we have.
You saw some issuances by heads of some investment banks, not to mention any names, that felt that was the case.
That the Fed was asking them to, we don't.
SEC, Fed, you stated a couple of minutes ago that you feel that some sort of ESG, you stated that banks want it. And
I'm talking, no, that's different, completely different. It's regulated financial institutions that we regulate and supervise. They're subject to, particularly the big ones, are subject
so
to
the Fed,
climate change.
You agree that
climate
the Fed
change issues all over the country.
won't ask banks to renege on their fiduciary responsibilities. The Fed won't do that.
We don't regulate the investment banks. The SEC does.
Okay, so the answer is no.
What's the question again?
I'll move on. Earlier, some of my colleagues and Chairman McHenry questioned the holistic review of the capital bank holdings. This holistic review, which no one has seen, according to my sources, but there are published reports that it will call for more capital to be held by banks. I understand the deferral to Vice Chair Barr, but do you have any thing that you could add that would warrant a need for large banks' capital increase?
So there isn't a proposal to evaluate or talk about yet. Vice Chair Barr has indicated he was going to take a look. He said he thinks capital is strong, and the question really is it strong enough? And I know he's been working, and there'll be a process when he does arrive at conclusions. He has no authority to enact something himself. It has to go through the Board of Governors, also through the FDIC and the OCC.
Okay, this has nothing to do with the QT.
Process.
I'm sorry, with the QT initiative, the tightening of the money supply. They're not related at all?
No, I would say not.
Are you comfortable with the QT reductions which have taken place?
Yes, the balance sheet is, we have the balance sheet moving down at a healthy clip, and it seems to be going pretty well.
Okay, so the Biden administration's fiscal and energy policy has caused trillions in deficit spending, as you well know, very, very excessive trillions. Meanwhile, energy costs for the average American have, from heating oils to gasoline, have increased by over 40%, and businesses, of course, in just over the last 2 years. So high energy obviously affects the cost for manufacturing, wages, general cost of living in almost every aspect of society. Would not such fiscal and energy policy work of the Biden administration working hand in hand with initiatives such as QT and initiatives of the Fed be far more effective than the Fed fighting inflation on your own?
Well, I mean, we are the agency that has the responsibility to restore price stability, and we just have to do it. That's the task we've been given under the law. It's great if Congress helps. It's great if the administration helps, but we have to deliver it, and we will. That's our responsibility, which we fully accept.
We're not risking stagflation if the fiscal policy and monetary policy are working against each other?
Again, we don't comment on fiscal policy. That's for elected people, and we have a job, maximum employment and price stability. We use our tools. We try to stay in our lane, stick to our knitting.
It's just the fear of a number of people that we're going to have high interest rates and higher than 2% inflation if there's not that level of fiscal and monetary cooperation.
Again, fiscal policy does what it's going to do. We take that as exogenous. That's the fiscal policy will be what you and your colleagues do with, and that comes into the economy, and we see it, and we don't have a view. We don't try to comment on the decisions that you make, and we use our tools to restore price stability no matter what happens outside of our building.
Sure. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. We now